Many years ago, as part of my studies at the Grus Institute, I had the privilege to attend a class taught by the legendary Professor Nechama Leibowitz on the weekly Parsha. One of the main lessons that she tried to drill into us was concerning the role of the Parshan, the commentator. She said that the Parshan's job was to establish the facts, and then to fill in the details as to how those facts tie together. This week's Parsha, Tavo, contains a very good example of what Professor Nechama Leibowitz was trying to teach us. The Parsha starts with the mitzvah of bringing Bikurim, the first fruits, to God's house. As part of the ceremony for bringing the first fruits, the person who brings them needs to say the following: Ve'anita va'amarta lefnei Hashem Elokecha, you shall answer and say before Hashem your God, Arami oved avi. We'll come back to this in a moment. Vayered Mitzrayma vayagar sham b'mtei ma'at, and he went down into Egypt and lived there, few in number. Vayisham lagoy gadol atzum varav, and he became there a nation great, mighty, and populous. In general, we understand this verse. Our forefather went down from Canaan to Egypt, and there became a great nation. But trying to decode the meaning of the phrase Arami oved avi leaves us unsure. Who is this Arami? What is the function of the word oved? To whom is avi referring to? Moreover, how would our explanation of this phrase affect the reading of the whole verse? The standard interpretation of this verse, as understood by the Midrashim and the Targums, the ancient translations into Aramaic, and also by the Passover Haggadah, is that the word Arami is referring to Lavan HaArami, and Avi is referring to Yaakov. If we then take the word Oved to be a verb, then the phrase Arami Oved Avi is coming to describe what Lavan tried to do to Yaakov, namely to uproot or destroy him, and thank God he was not successful. The Rashbam surprisingly understands that the word Arami, and by extension the word Avi, is actually referring to our forefather Avraham, as he originated from Aram. The word Oved then comes to modify Avraham, describing who and what he was, meaning our forefather Avraham was a lost or wandering Aramean who went down to Egypt, and there he started on the path to become a great nation. The Ibn Ezra thinks that the Rashbam is in the right direction. However, the word Arami is referring to a different forefather, Yaakov. Yaakov might have been born in Canaan, but his family's background on both sides was deeply rooted in Aram. While Avraham had wandered, he was also in Egypt very briefly, not long enough to become a nation. It was Yaakov who had wandered throughout Canaan, to Aram for 20 years, and finally to Egypt for his last 17 years, where his children remained and resided for hundreds of years. To note too, until he came back to Canaan from Aram, Yaakov was also destitute. Ibn Ezra therefore understands this verse to be as follows: Our forefather Yaakov was a wandering, lost, and at times even destitute Aramean, who eventually made his way down to Egypt, and while there for hundreds of years became a great and mighty and numerous nation. 3 different commentators, each one given the same facts, but each one filling in the details in a different manner. Shabbat Shalom.